The following episode of Dad vs. Daughter is made possible by a contribution from Rather Dashing Games.
Wakening Lair from Rather Dashing Games is a dungeon crawl game. Now, the thing that makes this kind of unique is you have the opportunity to match your character up with weapons and objects that actually work well with that type of character. So let's take a look and see how the game is played, and then let's hear what Dad and his lunch group think of it. When I was at Gen Con this year, I caught up with my buddy Mike, who is one of the co-designers, Mike Ritchie and Grant Wilson, of Wakening Lair. And Mike actually did a very good how to play Wakening Lair, so I'm going to flip it over to him and let him teach you how to play the game. All right, I'm here with my good buddy Mike from Rather Dashing Games. He's going to talk about Wakening Lair, which is one of their new dungeon games.
That's right. All right, so Wakening Lair is a 2 to 6 player dungeon crawl. We want to make something that is very approachable, that brings in both the hobby gamers and the more family casual gamers. We always try to do that at Rather Dashing, and I think we've really hit it with this one. Honestly, this is a game I've wanted to play since I was 15. I haven't found it out there, so we decided to make it ourselves. So in Wakening Lair is a linear dungeon that rumor has bad things are about to emerge from. So select from 9 heroes to put your party together. All of our heroes have a male and a female side. Okay. We have our warriors, our arcanists, and our wanderers. We have your hit points. We have what makes your character special, and we have the 2 types of attacks that you begin with. So you pick your party, and you go to the entrance of the dungeon. This dungeon will start to randomly awaken via die rolls, and when these rooms wake up, we have to populate them with monsters from the deck. All right, so it's going to start to get crowded really fast. Now, as we'll also start to push our way through, and as we push through, we have to battle these monsters. We have to roll these dice to defeat them, and if they happen to have a power that we're using, then we can press the attack as long as we keep doing damage and keep trying to attack them as part of the same action. As we defeat these monsters, we will get treasure. All treasure cards are double-sided. There's a weapon and there's a magic item. So if the weapon is good for your hero, in Mobius's case right here, it's actually his perfect weapon. He can now roll 3 dice for a fire attack. But let's say it wasn't a good weapon for him. Well, he could always take the magic item. So your hero will expand and grow linearly. This continues, and you really try to buff yourself, buff your teammates, and work together. If you don't work together, you will lose this game, because eventually we're all on the clock. Eventually, the Monsters Terror Awakens card will appear, and that will trigger the end game. The end game is that one of these 6 very different bosses will wake up. Now, they all fight different, they all have different tactics and different strategies, but they have one thing in common: they all want out. Each turn, they will move 1 room through the dungeon. If he gets out, we will all lose. If one of us dies, we all lose. We can only win by defeating the monster's terror within.
Thanks, Mike. So now that you know how to play the game, let's get to what Dad and his lunch buddies think of the game. So I'll admit, I am not a big dungeon crawl kind of gamer. There's a few games that I'll play, but for the most part, dungeon crawls aren't really my thing. However, Wakening Lair is a good game. Really like the components. I like the interaction that you have. I like the variability that you can have with arming basically your heroes. And speaking of heroes, let's kind of show those off. The good thing about the heroes is there's both the male and the female side. So I thought that was really a nice touch. And of course, there is all different kinds that you have here. Just kind of show those off real quick. And the artwork in the game, I think, is really cool. I really enjoy that. Show you the rooms here. And I've showed you most of this before in the unboxing, but in case you didn't get a chance to check that out, here's our different rooms in our dungeon. We have our monsters. Let's Some of these are actually quite comical. Oops. You get your skeleton there, and then you got your ooze. The wraith is pretty cool. Plague rat. Goblin assassin. So you can see there's all different kinds, and there's multiples of those. So those are really cool. And then you've got basically your double use cards. You've got your treasures and your weapons. And I thought that this was a really cool way to set up the game as far as being able to have abilities, or basically have your spells or your potions, whatever, along with your weapons. And the fact that they help certain types of your characters. And then let's take a look at the baddies here. You got your final bosses here. And the thing I really like about this was the fact that how they have, these are kind of indented, if you will. So you can see your Cinder Shroud, your Grim Gear, which he looks really cool, your Mudmuck, your Whiptail, your Soul Blade, and Widow Fang. And then the other components you have, the disc here. These are really nice. These are screen printed on there. They're not stickers. You can see those. And I like that we have the green arrow. So that's pretty cool. And your dice are really good too. So component-wise, I think it's really good. Like I said, it's a good game. Now, I will say that this kind of fell flat for my lunch group. Again, they're not really that into the dungeon crawls themselves, and that might have been why they weren't real big fans of the game. They agreed it's an okay game, but it's not one that they were really asking to play again, and I respect that. This may be the perfect game for you, though. Like I said, it is a good game. Really enjoy the components. I think they're really good. Love the artwork. And then the box itself. The box is really cool as well because it looks kind of like a book. If you look there. And it's got a magnetic clasp here, so you can open it up and you can see the insert. And then you can also see the here's the backstory on each of the different types of characters. But the production quality on this is very good. So if this is something you think you're interested in, I definitely recommend checking it out. So that is Wakening Lair from Rather Dashing Games, and we will catch you guys next time. If you would like to support us, you can visit patreon.com/dadvdaughter.
Like and follow us on Facebook to stay current on our show schedule, sneak peeks at future shows, and to interact with us.